Tony Grossi will be on later today. He's the reporter that Shedeur Sanders got very mad at. So here's another mess that Shohei Ohtani is in. I've defended Shohei Ohtani. Remember earlier when his lying, degenerate, gambling interpreter took him for a ride financially, and it was remarkable to listen to the media say, "Oh, you know he's involved in this." He's literally in a country he doesn't speak the language. And I mean, if I moved to Japan and started doing businesses, I can't be involved in the vetting process. I'm a broadcaster. He's a baseball star. So there's a lot of grifters out there that have always been trying to take advantage of musicians and celebrities and actors. So when I see lawsuit against famous person, I don't necessarily think famous person's in the wrong. Our president has had like 4,000 cases of litigation in his career. Some he's right, some he's wrong. So there's a lot of grifters out there. I mean, Elon Musk and Mark Cuban not only have attorneys on speed dial, but in their corporations, they have attorneys on staff. Fox has attorneys on staff. There's a lot of grift out there. So the first time he got into trouble, I had more losers contacting me, telling me they had a friend of a friend in Vegas. They knew Ohtani was betting Brewers games. None of it came to pass. Everybody in Vegas thinks they deserve more respect than they ultimately get, and it was nonsense. And it was proven to be nonsense. This time, it's a real estate developer and investor. I got to tell you, that industry, and I've played around with real estate, is not known for transparency, and oftentimes there's a lot. It's ripe for bad actors. I'll just leave it at that. So here's the other thing. The lawsuit says the developer had worked on this project for 11 years. The company signs Ohtani 2 years ago for this project. So you're telling me is Ohtani is helping the Dodgers win a World Series. He was a criminal mastermind in Hawaii. The second part of this, he enters the project in the 11th hour, and he's the reason it's failing? Really? It's an 11-year-old project. He enters solely to be the face of it. I don't expect him to do the vetting work on this stuff. So it can be a murky world. There's not a lot of transparency. I took his side on the gambling. And again, go to Reddit boards. I'm sure they'll tell you they've got an inside source and a brother of a cousin in Orange County who knows what really happened. Congrats on that. Knock yourself out. But in this instance, I don't think people understand how big Ohtani is. He's a superstar in 2 continents. Okay, he's the one guy in baseball that drives attendance in America, a sport that was failing 3 years ago. He and the speed of the game are the 2 things driving attendance. Like his road attendance is remarkable. And, one of the reasons I defended him on sports gambling and all those discussions, because every state has different sports gambling rules. You expect him to know the difference between Arizona, Los Angeles, Colorado. Give me a break. So I don't think he's a real estate icon. And on this side, in what's always been a real estate broker, real estate investor, real estate developer, I've done enough real estate. It's like the richer cousin of the used car salesman from time to time. I'm not going to mention these individuals, but I'm going to, again, side with the superstar athlete. You'd be amazed in Hollywood how many famous actors have been sued. Do the homework yourself. I did this morning. Companies, CEOs, somebody walks into Home Depot, bumps their head in a piece of lumber, and suddenly they want somebody to write them a $150 million check. I'm not saying corporations don't do bad things, and I'm not saying celebrities, I'm not defending them at all costs. Believe me, I lived around Hollywood, weirdos everywhere. But I'll take Ohtani's side once again. And I read the whole story twice. I'm going to take his side again. That is going to be my side. You guys go the other side. I'll go that side. J-Mac with the news. So I'm all fired up. We're a couple of weeks away from the biggest college football game over Labor Day weekend I ever remember. It is going to be Texas at Ohio State. I think Texas plays Penn State for the national championship. My guess is Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State are probably the 3rd best team in the country. Notre Dame's really good, so is Oregon. But I saw an article this morning, and it's like this is being intimated. Is Texas college football's new Alabama? Oh, boy. So Georgia was the new Alabama for about 4 years until the NIL took off, where SEC, tough, physical, defensive head coach, multiple natties. Georgia was the new Alabama. Texas, my entire life, has been USC in cowboy hats. It has good looking, a lot of style, a lot of vibe, a lot of energy. Coach always makes a lot of money. Cool stadium, cool city. Where are all the natties? So Texas and USC played, in my opinion, the most memorable college football game, 2005, Rose Bowl. I was at it. It was unbelievable. It's the best looking crowd in the history of college football, even in a very busy city full of glamour like LA. It was the coolest thing in LA for months. And I love Texas football, and I didn't go there. I don't understand why I love Texas football, but it's something you can love without living there. It's cool. They passed the eye test. They have most of my life, but they're not Alabama. They're not gritty, right? Like Texas is the prom king. He's the coolest guy in school. He may be the best looking guy in school. He's the prom king. Alabama was like the best wrestler in your high school. Like, didn't always look good in clothes, but nobody wanted to mess with him. Didn't have the coolest car, was never really the coolest. The quarterback was. So nobody's afraid of the prom king, and that's the problem. Alabama intimidated you. Georgia intimidated you. USC, Texas, they create envy. They got money. But Bama was on O-line, run game, toughness, linebackers. Fundamental over flash. Texas is always like USC. They're good teams, always have a lot of flash. I mean, you go back to the USC dynasty, and most people would say two words, Reggie Bush. Right? Like, that's what you would say. So Sark can coach. Sark has big money. Sark can recruit. But do you trust Texas in a big spot if they're playing a hyper-physical SEC team or like an Ohio State or a Notre Dame tough physical team? Do you trust them? I don't. I mean, I may be a USC honk. I don't trust them. I mean, if it's drizzling, you won't get their A game. You will not get USC's A game if it's overcast and there's a light drizzle in the second quarter. And I kind of feel like Texas has always been USC in cowboy hats. Here's Sark on their preseason #1 ranking.
It really doesn't matter. That's how I drown it out. I tell the guys exactly that. Like, it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant to the way the season's going to go. It's irrelevant to the way we're going to play. It's irrelevant to how our opponents are going to play. Maybe it puts a little bigger bullseye on us for our opponents. But the reality is we have to go do it, right? We have to perform, and we have to perform at a high level over time and time and time again.
And part of it is, I've told this story before. When I used to cover Oregon football, Autzen Stadium was old and tickets were not that expensive. And then all of a sudden they built a beautiful stadium. It got more expensive and the crowd got quieter, right? Like it was more bougie. And there is something to be said about grit. Like they're not changing Michigan Stadium, Alabama, Georgia. I think Marcus Freeman at Notre Dame has done a good job. Like Notre Dame is like tough and physical. And even when Brian Kelly's last couple of years, they go up against Georgia, and there are a lot of good linebackers and offensive line. College football, to me, the three programs that have always been sort of like Rodeo Drive: Miami Hurricanes, Texas Longhorns, and USC. I think the sport is better when they're all good, and they rarely have been simultaneously. But to me, they don't feel the same as like the Big Ten. That's why I'm so fascinated with USC going to the Big Ten. Oregon and Washington going to the Big Ten, they play in crappy weather all the time. I mean, those states don't have any great high school players. I mean, Oregon and Washington, they have to work hard to go get players out of state. USC football and Texas football, they're pretty. And Pete Carroll briefly made them really tough and really physical. And Sark didn't, Lane Kiffin didn't, Lincoln Riley hasn't, Clay Helton didn't. Doesn't mean they can't coach. Doesn't mean they're not good coaches. But there is something about USC and Texas in these big spots against tough physical teams. I trusted the Pete Carroll teams. I haven't since. I'm telling you, if it's raining, they don't feel like the same team. And I feel a little that with Texas. It is a lot of fun and a lot of sizzle and a lot of flash. Bama doesn't worry about that. Georgia doesn't worry about that. That's just my take.